And so everybody writes what their ancestry is. And some people will write, well, my parents are of German ancestry, or my family's of German ancestry. And other people will say, like, I'm German. But mostly it's not. But Puerto Ricans will say, I'm Puerto Rican.
I feel like there's two types of Puerto Ricans.
All right.
The true Puerto Ricans.
The true Puerto Ricans.
That it's like a mix of like the culture, the experiences in the island.
Okay.
The blood.
Mm-hmm.
Basically genetics and the Spanish. And then when we say fake Puerto Ricans, it sounds bad, but it's not meant to be bad.
You've only been there one time. Okay, hang on. She's only been there one time.
I feel like you don't have to go as many, like...
Okay, so that's not an issue.
No, it depends how you were raised at home.
Okay.
If you're proud about it and your family really embraces your Puerto Rican culture...
Give her the mic, actually. Go ahead. Yeah, keep
embraces your Puerto Rican culture, you're Puerto Rican.
Like, at the back of my head, and they reinforce the idea that there's two classes of Puerto Ricans.
Yeah.
And you feel that, even if they don't say it.
Yeah.
It's their demeanor, their body language. Like, in their eyes, they don't see you as a true Puerto Rican. And you sort of go about that, like, okay, I'm going to set up that barrier.
Got you.
To not show more than what it is, but, I'm still Puerto Rican. Just we're not going to discuss that.
I got you. When you identify as Puerto Rican, what are you identifying as? Like, what are you? What are you seeing? Like, what are you identifying with? I'm Puerto Rican, right? What does that mean for you?
Well, sharing ancestry with my family. We're Puerto Rican.
Extended family.
Not even extended family. My grandmother was born on the island.
Okay.
My mom's mom was born on the island.
Yep.
And, just like any other person who has ancestry from a different place, you associate with that. And just because I was, born in America doesn't negate the fact that I am a Puerto Rican, because it's in my blood. And, it's not something to be ashamed of.
So this seems to me that it's different for Puerto Ricans. That's why one of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation, because it's different for you all. Like, this conversation about what it means to be Puerto Rican for the three of you and what it means for the three of you. It's like, it's so unique with Puerto Rico because you're a Commonwealth. It's not the same. There are a lot of people in the classroom who are, of Irish ancestry or Italian ancestry, and there are people in the class who, I know this because people volunteer. At this point in time, 180 people in this room have volunteered to be up here. And so everybody writes what their ancestry is. And some people will write, well, my parents are of German ancestry, or my family's of German ancestry. And other people will say, I'm German. But mostly it's not. But Puerto Ricans will say, I'm Puerto Rican. It's not like my family is Puerto Rican ancestry. It's no, I'm Puerto Rican. Yeah. And you could be 2 generations out, but it doesn't matter. There's that unique thing that is this connection between all of you. Yeah, Mia.
I think it's because when they do immigrate here, they want to keep their culture so strongly. Whenever I visit my grandma, she always reminds me, she's like, you're Puerto Rican, right? And I'm like, yeah. And so it's they just make sure they try as hard as they can to keep that culture. Like you said, when you go to Miami, it's literally it's so mixed and it's just so Hispanic there. You're like, oh wow. So it's they want to keep as much as they can, even though they're not still in Puerto Rico. So I think that's why we might be oh, I'm Puerto Rican, because that's what we're raised around.
So you have family members and community members who want to maintain their ties to the island. Yeah, Mia.
Puerto Ricans are just really proud. They're really proud. You see a flag anywhere, and it's because in history for some time we couldn't wave our flags. And even when you go to Puerto Rico, there's people driving with the Puerto Rico flag in their car, like you see in New York or Philly. And it's I mean, duh, we're here. Like, you know what I mean?
No,
So
it is a little different, man. It is really a little bit different than a lot of places. Like I'm going to tonight, actually, I leave for Colombia. And when I'm in Colombia, it's not the same, man, as like Puerto Ricans, you know? And by the way, I used to drive an 84 Toyota Corolla, which you all wouldn't understand, but I lived in a Puerto Rican neighborhood, man. Everybody had Toyota Corollas. So I want to flip it. I want to go to what makes someone Puerto Rican? What do you see? What makes someone Puerto Rican?
It's like the culture and the ancestry too.
Go ahead. Say more. Just know in your. I'm not thinking like. Okay, hang on. I'm gonna say this a different way. Don't think like textbook. In your mind, when somebody says, I'm Puerto Rican, and you say, oh yeah, that person's Puerto Rican, or you say, that person's not really Puerto Rican. Like, what's the distinguishing factor? What makes someone who says, I'm Puerto Rican, that you say, like yeah?
For me, I know someone's Puerto Rican when they say it and they're proud of it.
Uh-huh.
Like, because I've seen some people from here that say they're Puerto Rican, but they're not, like, proud of it because they weren't raised on the island.
How do you know if they are or are not proud of it? How do you know that?
Like, how they say it.
Here, hold the mic closer to your face.
How they say it.
How they say it?
Yeah.
So like Mia, when you hear Mia talk or you hear Noah talk, or Mia, one of the Mia, how is that? Do you feel like, okay, yeah, they're proud of being Puerto Rican?
Yeah, they seem cultured.
Uh-huh. How about you? What's it mean when you say that what makes someone Puerto Rican?
I think I would say like the same thing as Sarangi, like someone who knows like what like happens there, someone who like their parents actually raised as Puerto Rican. Like I can say like in some cases like, oh, if they know like kind of like Spanish, maybe. But yeah, kind of like if they're really cultured and if they know like a lot of like what's happened, how stuff is like at the island.
Yeah. Stuff like that. Do they have to speak Spanish? What if you don't speak Spanish?
I mean, I guess like at the front of my mind and like yeah, they're Puerto Rican, but at the back of my mind they're like, no, they're fake Puerto Ricans.
So in the front of your mind, you're like, yeah, you don't have to speak Spanish. Like, whatever. You're totally proud of being Puerto Rican, and you're Puerto Rican, but in the back of your mind, there's a question mark. It's like, wait, hang on. If you're really proud of being Puerto Rican, you would speak Spanish, is what is in the back of your mind somewhere. Uh-huh. Which makes sense, right? How about, what would you say? Like, what makes someone Puerto Rican?
I feel like there's two types of Puerto Ricans.
All right.
The true Puerto Ricans.
The true Puerto Ricans.
That it's like a mix of like the culture, the experiences in the island.
Okay.
The blood.
Mm-hmm.
Basically genetics and the Spanish. And then when we say fake Puerto Ricans, it sounds bad, but it's not meant to be bad.
Okay,
you know?
well, what's it mean? Just to operationalize it.
I would say the second Puerto Ricans.
The Puerto Ricans who are just saying like, yeah, I'm Puerto Rican, but they really don't. So you, the two of you, you go back a lot, right? So, oh, you've only been back 3 times? One time? You've only been there one time. Okay, hang on. She's only been there one time.
I feel like you don't have to go as many, like...
Okay, so that's not an issue.
No, it depends how you were raised at home.
Okay.
If you're proud about it and your family really embraces your Puerto Rican culture.
Give her the mic, actually. Go ahead. Yeah, keep
embraces your Puerto Rican culture, you're Puerto Rican.
Okay.
But as I was saying, I feel like back home, we kind of divide
the two types of Puerto Ricans. The primary, like the first ones are the ones on the island, and the second ones are the ones wherever.
So you like know, okay, you're there, and you have Puerto Ricans coming down as tourists, and they're all proud of being Puerto Rican, but like they're hanging out at a tourist resort. They don't speak Spanish. They don't really know anything. And then you meet them in a bar, and they're all sloppy drunk, going, "Yeah, I'm Puerto Rican." And you're like, "Dude, come on, man." You would say that.
Yeah. And I feel like you can speak Spanish, but if you don't speak the Puerto Rican Spanish, that's different. Because you can learn Spanish in high school here.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean like you know the Puerto Rican Spanish.
Okay, so Spanish, knowing Spanish isn't the biggest thing. It's really being connected to the place and the people.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you would say the same thing. Do you say that for yourself?
Say what?
That it really is about like, no, I don't have to know Spanish. I don't have to go there. I'm like, I grew up in a Puerto Rican.
To be considered Puerto Rican?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, because my mom wasn't raised by her mom. She was raised by a black family.
Yeah.
And so she sometimes feels that she doesn't teach me enough about Puerto Rican culture. But my father was raised by a Puerto Rican family. So it's kind of weird because I feel like I identify as Puerto Rican, but I know like I'm not like Puerto Rican, like I'm not from there, and so it's kind of like weird to me. That's why when she says like stuff like that, I'm like, that's totally valid. Because it's like I don't speak Spanish, and it's like I don't really know much, but I still try to like connect and learn as much as possible because they still are my family.
But the three of you being here in the U.S., when you live in a Latino or an Hispanic neighborhood, you're sort of forced into some kind of identity. Like the three of you got to say something, especially being around Miami. It's like people are always going to ask, like, you have to be able to say what your ancestry is quickly. So it's going to sort of push you in a way to be more Puerto Rican, let's say, than maybe you even feel. It's just like forces you into a place. So here's a question then. The three of you, right? And so Mia, maybe you can take the mic on this. How do you feel when you're around Puerto Ricans from the island? Like, how is that for you? Like, is there a way in which I don't know, how is that for you? Let's just
like,
say.
are you talking about my family or like these three?
No, I like these three right here.
So I'm going to talk from personal experience. And last year, it was like the second week of school, and I wanted to find a sense of community at this PWI, predominantly white institution. So I went to the Puerto Rican Student Association club meeting. And it was an interesting experience because I was so excited about meeting people who looked like me, who was raised in the same culture as me. But I felt so disconnected, and I felt like an outsider.
What was it? What specifically do you remember that you experienced that disconnected you?
It was just like the vibe when you say like your hometown and everyone was giving their hometowns, and like the look on their faces, or just like body language, and also like certain things were said in Spanish too, and it kind of gave like exclusion a little bit.
And was everybody speaking? Wait, were most people in the room from the island, from Puerto Rico?
Yeah, I would say for the first meeting it was like a decent mixture, but I would say like PRSA is definitely for like the folks on the island.
And so they're speaking that Puerto Rican Spanish, which I can't understand at all, by the way. It's I don't know what you do. The R's are L's and the S's, they just go somewhere. I don't know where they go, and it's just like, damn, man, it's like crazy. Okay, so you felt like
uncomfortable.
Yeah, uncomfortable. You're just not there.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a sense of intimidation? Like here, you're with these three women right here from the island, man. Do you feel a sense of intimidation at some level?
Not really, because I'm used to being around people speaking Spanish and me not understanding what they're saying.
Okay.
So like I'm like pretty used to it. Like right now it's kind of cool because I haven't been around that in a minute. So like, for example, when I went back down, I was in the bathroom and everyone was just speaking Spanish, and I was like, wow, like I'm home right now. And so like, I kind of don't really mind. It is like, if I'm around my family from Puerto Rico, when they come up to visit, if the times they're able to, I kind of feel fine because they don't treat me any differently. Like they still love me and treat me like family. I just might not know what they're saying.
Do they tease you for not speaking Spanish?
Yeah, I mean that happens everywhere I go, so I'm like kind of used to it.
Yeah, because in Miami you must have grown up. All your friends, like most of them, must have spoke Spanish, right?
I've been like at work and like some lady shamed me for not speaking Spanish. She was like, "Shame on your family," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
Shame on my family.
Yeah.
I fully understand Spanish and I like speak it, but I learned in school, so it's not the same. And I forget who said it, but if it's not Puerto Rican Spanish, like I'm not about to try around a group of Puerto Rican people to speak Spanish with them because it's embarrassing.
For you?
It's embarrassing for me, yeah.
Yeah. How about Noah? How about you? Do you feel intimidated?
It's a feeling of intimidation, but it's also like at the back of my head, and they reinforce the idea that there's two classes of Puerto Ricans.
Yeah.
And you feel that even if they don't say it.
Yeah.
It's their demeanor, their body language. Like in their eyes, they don't see you as a true Puerto Rican, and you sort of go about that like, okay, I'm gonna set up that barrier.
Got you.
To not show more than what it is, but I'm still Puerto Rican. Just we're not gonna discuss that.
I got you. Okay, let me ask the three of you a question. If we weren't here in the room, and we're gonna take a couple questions from the stream, and I think you have a question, right? If we weren't here in the room, when you say like fake Puerto Ricans or whatever, like you're being really kind here, right? Would you be a little bit more like, like put the Puerto Rican caramba, like what would you be less kind? Would you be more judgmental of the three of these three?
If they weren't here?
Yeah, if we weren't here, if the three of you were just talking amongst yourselves.
I mean, like, I feel like Puerto Ricans don't have a filter. We just say what we think. So I don't think there would be, like, a difference. If they're not doing anything bad to us, we don't have to talk bad about them.
Yeah, I got you. Okay, so they wouldn't be more fake if the cameras weren't on.
At the same time, I don't really agree with what she said about the PRSA. Like, the three of us, we're part of the PRSA. And I'm part of the board.
No, but listen, all she said was I was uncomfortable.
Yeah. I know, but that really depends on the person.
Yeah.
Because maybe he could go to like a club meeting and he wouldn't feel uncomfortable and he would just talk to everyone. Because we have people like that in the club. Because I'm part of the board, so I talk to everyone.
Got you.
In the board, there's two girls that basically don't speak Spanish, but they're there.
Dude, you got to go back. Dude, you got to invite her back.
I mean, if she doesn't want to go.
Yeah, I got you. All right.
But I guess I kind of like understand her because Puerto Rico is really a small island, so everyone knows each other. So we're like, when we talk, we just talk as like if we were like maybe you like there's someone from Puerto Rico you haven't met and they're from the island too, and it's just like you connect like really quick.
Yeah.
Because it's just like like there's a lot like for example. She's not from the same area I am, but we have a lot of people in common, so we connected really quick.